You're listening to HowStreet.com radio, available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Welcome to HowStreet.com radio, the online source for market opinions. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is David Smith. He's the senior analyst for the Morgan Report, which you can find online at silver-investor.com. Welcome to the show, David.
It's great to be back, Jim.
Over the summer, things usually get pretty quiet, and this year's been kind of quiet as well. We had major action in the metals back in the spring, but pretty dull right now. So how do you kind of keep yourself in the game? It's kind of confusing right now. What's your advice?
Well, I'd say we have market fog, which tends to roll in from time to time, especially when people are on vacation and prices move around for no particular reason. And I think, what I like to do, rather than getting caught in the trap of over-trading and trying to make the market go where I'd like it to go by over-analyzing things and making all those trades, is I like to sit back and kind of do the research on some of the people that have guided me over the years. And Jim, I think in looking at this, my feeling is, and in working with David Morgan, his is the same way, and I believe the people at House Street too, we're not here to try to inform your opinion. We're here to inform your opinion rather than lead it. We don't want to try to say, well, this is what you should do or anything like that, but we want to provide avenues where you can go ahead and do that research yourself and see how it fits with your emotional quotient and your financial ability and your goals and things like that. And then you come up with a decision that is uniquely yours. It may be completely different than what we might think, but that doesn't matter because it's for you. The buck stops with you. And so we're here to inform your opinion, not lead it.
Do a lot of people make that mistake? This one person is doing that. I'll go do that.
I think that really is true. And, we try to do things intellectually, but the reality is we're driven by emotions, all of us. And so to the extent that we can bring those emotions down a couple notches and do so with more calmness and quietude, it's very helpful. And I think reading the pronouncements of people who've been and done, who really are giants in our field, I think is to the good, whether it's online interviews or subscribing to specific letters like the Morgan Report, or Casey Research or Graceland Updates. These type of letters I found that are very helpful in giving me kind of a big picture view and also keeping things in balance. And of course, I'm partial to the Morgan Report because I work with David in that, and I'm a frequent contributor. But I would have to say that if I didn't feel that it has really helped me a lot over the years, in addition to the other ones that I mentioned, I wouldn't be so forceful in saying just how I feel that it really is helpful to me in my trading, and I think it would help others as well too.
Whose advice are you following today? Your own?
Well, I like to go to CEO.ca, which I believe they're introducing a paid letter, but I think they still have a lot of free content. I've followed the interviews that they have on there and the short articles for several years, and I think that that's one of the more valuable ones that I like to go to. There's the Mellman Minute by Leonard Mellman, which is a free letter. Leonard Mellman is a chartist, a Canadian chartist who has been received a number of honors for his work. He's probably not well known outside of the conference circuit, but I think reading the Mellman Minute is something that can really help, again, give you balance in reaching conclusions for yourself. I like Ian McCavity's deliberations, and Ian is in transition now. He's written this letter for over about 42 years. He was writing this letter when I was still starting to learn the beginning of the ropes of market trading back in the 70s, and he is moving to a paid letter, which it had been before, but in the interim, he's giving, he writes when he gets a chance over every couple of months an update to the markets as he sees it, and that would be something that somebody might want to look at. And his name is spelled I-A-N for Ian, and then M-C, capital A-V-I-T-Y. So there's some suggestions in terms of subscribing to specific letters that people put out.
Taking a look at the precious metals today, how is gold doing, and how is the gold-silver ratio holding up?
Well, the gold-silver ratio is still pretty high in relationship to gold to the price of silver, and a lot of people think that that is going to revert to a more normal amount, which I think it will once the rallies get started later this fall. I like to also follow from what we were talking about just a little while ago, what I call boots on the grounders. Robert Friedland of Ivanhoe Mining, who's got, most people dream of having one big score on a mining exploration property in their lifetime, their working lifetime. Robert has had a number. He's got 3 going right now. I like to listen to whatever Nolan Watson has to say, who's the CEO of Sandstorm Gold. We've interviewed him a couple of times for the Morgan Report. I have a great deal of respect for Rob McEwen, who is really one of the giants in the field. He used to be the CEO of Goldcorp, and now has McEwen Mining, has properties in Argentina and Nevada. And Rob is just an incredible person. He's one of these people that is not only a real amazing person professionally, but also personally as well too. He's received some of Canada's highest honors that can be given to a civilian for good works for others. And reading and listening to what he has to say always helps to inform me and helps me to make my decisions. And then a number of other people, some of which we talked about before here on the show: Eric Sprott, Frank Holmes of U.S. Global, Pierre Lassonde, Doug Casey, Greg McCoach, Jesse Livermore, going back a number of years, is always one of 3 books you'd have to have on your bookshelf for learning about the human interactions involved in trading. I really respect Maren Katusa and Jeff Clark of Casey Research, as these are people that can really help inform you. And Frank Justra, who occasionally gives interviews. He's one of Canada's most successful entrepreneurs. And so those are people that really give me information that help to keep my balance and help to inform me so that I can keep learning as a lifelong learner about what's going on in the resource sector, and then seeing how I can apply that to help in my own writings, to help others, and also in my own investments.
I think Frank Justra likes to hang around with Bill Clinton.
He does. They apparently are pretty close personal friends, and they have gotten together on a lot of things to help other people in terms of their
big-time humanitarians.
Around the world.
Yeah, big-time humanitarians around the world that a lot of people don't know about. I was there when they actually had a little summit meeting, and they invited people to join them, where I think the 2 of them said, "You know anybody with $100 million to help out folks around the world?" And they both looked at each other, laughed, and said, "I think we're both looking at one." So
yep, they're big-time players, and their efforts are to do well and good at the same time, which I think give people high marks if you're able to achieve that.
Do we expect palladium to keep climbing?
I do. I think we're going to see this
right
going on for several years at least.
Yeah, really?
You know, Jim, when one of the things I like to do, and I don't always do it, but I often do it, when I finish a research essay, whether it's for David or if it's something that I write in a different venue, I always like to end it with this, because I think it's important that we take responsibility for our own decisions, and sometimes it's harder than others, but it really is a critical factor, I think, in long-term success. And what I like to do is end my research reports with, do the research, do the math, the decision must be yours.
And with that high note, David, it's been great talking to you.
Good talking to you, Jim. Take care.
My guest has been David Smith, Senior Analyst for the Morgan Report, which you can find online at silver-investor.com. You're listening to HowStreet.com radio. Find us on Twitter at TalkDigitalNet. You can contact us at info@HowStreet.com. I'm Jim Goddard.
Comments made on HowStreet.com radio are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any matter whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. HowStreet.com radio is a production of HowStreet Media Incorporated.